recently came across a funny conversation between Pastor Doug Wilson, who I already covered in the previous video, who is like a Protestant pastor, Bible fundamentalist, and a Catholic dad from Dad Saves America channel, whose videos I also reviewed previously. And the conversation looked like a actual religious dispute, which I think it was kind of ironic in the 21st century. Let me show you what happened here. It was, well, I will not show you the full conversation, but basically the dads asked the pastor how Catholics will live in this Protestant utopia.
Christians together with Protestants. And so consequently, I would say that's as far as we could bend or accommodate different groups to be part of the infrastructure, but not as part of the basis of law. The basis of law would have to be Christian, and I would want it to be Protestant.
What does that mean? And because I don't think I fully understand your answer in the sense that you've talked about a carve out for my future kin. What does it mean to have carve outs? What is it? Is it still American law? How has the law changed that? And is it still America if the law has changed in ways that have a more clearly Christian moral
let me give you
underpinnings? Let's say.
Let me give you a couple of very practical examples. Okay. Could Muslims be here? Live? Yes, they could be. Could they hold political office? No. Could Muslims gather together with their Muslim family and friends to pray to Allah? Yes. Right? Could you have a mosque? Yes. Could they have a minaret, a prayer tower that issues the public call to prayer? No, because the public spaces belong to Christ. Right? We're a Christian nation. So church bells are okay. Church bells are okay, but a Muslim call to prayer in the public space would not be okay. Catholic church bells would be okay, right? Catholic church bells would be okay, but a parade in honor of the Virgin Mary, carrying an image of the Virgin Mary down Main Street, no, right? So
what about the Eucharist? What about the Eucharist? What about a Eucharistic procession?
That's a new one. I would say probably not. It would depend on what was being done around it, how it was being conducted. But basically, public displays of idolatry, what the Protestant foundation of the law would consider to be idolatry, would not be allowed. So you wouldn't have a Hindu procession with a Hindu god. You wouldn't have a procession of the Virgin Mary. But let me run ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting what kind of discussions American intellectuals have in the 21st century. What kind of idolatry procession will be banned in the Protestant utopia? And how Catholics could live there.
To anticipate something else.
It's like they're having the same Protestant Catholic dispute like they had in the Middle Ages, right? Well, or I mean later, slightly later.
And that is, what we're talking about is something that I would envision as being possible 500 years from now, 250 years from now. And it would only be possible as the result of evangelism, persuasion, broad Christian consensus. I don't believe in going into a Catholic country, having a Protestant monarch go into a Catholic country, and then just by raw dictate suppress all the Catholic stuff. I believe it needs Paul says in 2 Corinthians 10 that our weapons are not carnal. We don't seize power that way. We don't impose those sorts of issues that way.
So I think there might be a tension that you're not quite addressing, or I don't feel like you have, and I want to give you a
Okay.
chance to. And that is, you're saying, look, I want to achieve a culture that is Christian,
Yes.
and do it through persuasion, do it through ministry, do it peacefully, do it as a pastor.
Right.
But then at some point, 250, 500 years from now, the law at the local level, so we'll stay within the sort of federalist framework, but the law at the local level, and from your vantage point, it would sound like in every state, if you had your druthers, would actually apply the force of the state at the state level to prohibit, on Columbus Day, from me and my, now very diluted Italian Catholic clan, from having a procession with the Blessed Mother. That would be the law. That wouldn't just be like people sort of morally shaming us into not thinking we should do it because we'll get dirty looks. It's like, no, the cops will come and say, I'm sorry, you can't do that on the street.
Yeah, so interesting. And yeah, I don't know whether you want to hear what Pastor says. Basically, yes, that's what he stand on. And I think like this problem here, it took this religious form because that's like two religious moralities fighting with each other. But like it's certainly not vacuous, right? How do you use public streets? Is it like for transportation, or we could hold some processions there and so on? And to the big degree, this could be resolved with private property. I'm not sure, the minaret thing could be fully resolved because of sound and noise, externality. That's more difficult. But the streets just should not be public. And then if you were able, supervision, change like the culture of the people, and they gathered a lot of wealth in through market activities, and they're able to purchase a street. They could hold any procession they want, or they could, hold it once per year, close the street for cars, and have it. Or, if it's a disputed region, there might be a company which manages the street, and then every person makes a bidding on auction, or what you want this street to be used for on this day, like whether it's like for traffic or for some procession, and the highest bidding candidate wins. And the key here is that the sides need to agree to play by the rule of capitalism, that by the rule of private property. And my intuition, well, at least my guess, is that they both would agree on this. And the reason for that is because each side in this debate values productiveness. They don't, like, they think about themselves as winners. They think like, oh, if I had my Protestant community, and we had our, we were able to purchase this land on the market, and we would have our Protestant laws effectively on this private property, we will be more productive because we follow the God's will better, and then we'll be able to gather more resources and purchase more streets. And the Catholics could say, no, like, maybe we would purchase more streets, and they would probably agree that to abide by these rules, because they both like libertarian to some degree. And we would see who win in the end. But I think the biggest problem in America is that the side which is winning right now, like, does not hold the ideas of freedom to that degree at all. Like, and they fundamentally don't value productiveness. They think not about the winners. They mentally focus on the losers. So, and this is the American left. The left wouldn't like to play this game of fair competition, because in this competition somebody would lose, and they just don't want losers to exist. Or I mean, at least partially lose. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, they lose somewhere, right? And on the market, somebody is doing better, somebody is doing worse, and egalitarianists are against it. So they're the one who are stopping people from even competing normally. Like this debate could have been settled through market forces, but that's not happening because the dominant American position is leftist position. And for the leftist person, productivity is just a choice. Being productive is like as good as being non-productive. It's a full egalitarianism. So, in my opinion, like this medieval pastor, like with his crazy ideas about executing people for picking sticks during Shabbat, like is less dangerous and less of a problem than just American moderate left who just don't want to have competitions, who don't want to operate within the framework of private property. They don't have this winner's mentality. So I think that's the end of this short video. I just decided to comment because I think it's kind of both funny and sad that we have like a medieval style discussion between Catholics and Protestants, try to settle the religious dispute while the country is taken over by the leftists, which don't even allow any of them to test the idea on the market.